So Skybet have been in the news again several times this month for their dirty behaviour, but it's only really scratching the surface, which is why I thought I'd put this video together as somebody who has seen Skybet's behaviour develop a lot over the last 10 years. Quite frankly, this video will be sharing the bits that they don't want you to see, which is of course the truth. So let this be a warning to the average punter that possibly even uses Skybet right now that isn't aware that these things are going on. So starting off with 5 shocking truths about Skybet in no particular order. Number 1, the catalyst that initiated this video. Now you may have seen the news earlier in the week, but Skybet have emailed self-excluded customers promotional bonuses, meaning that they're trying to draw that custom back to their platform from people who are quite clearly addicted and have gambling harm issues. This is an integrity issue. This is terrible, and you'll soon see why this is an integrity issue when we move on to the further points. So the second point is Skybet have been known to accuse winners of fraud purely through beating their pricing. Now Skybet have the advantage. They get to set the marketplace, they get to choose the odds, they get to decide their own prices, and then when somebody beats their prices, be it through time or whatever other means, they decide that this is fraud, sending threatening emails to people like this on screen. For the average user, this would be quite alarming, but if you've received one of these, please don't worry, it's quite ridiculous. They're just trying to cover their arse and getting you to go elsewhere, which is probably why it will be coupled up with the third point that we want to make that's been happening for over 10 years now, which is consistently ignored by authorities such as the Gambling Commission, which is Skybet restrict winners. There's even an article here online from 2018, this is 3 years ago, and it's got a lot worse since then, by the way, where they admitted to restricting around about 3% of their customer base. Bear in mind, that will be a huge amount of people. Also, if you've done some match betting, you'll know that this won't just apply to people that are beating their pricing, but people that are actually taking their promotional offers. So let that sink in for just a second. Much like this tweet from Steve, where he shares a conversation with Skybet where they say that they're quite willing to reinitiate his account as long as he's only willing to take 5p bets. I mean, just like Steve's analogy in the replies, where else in the world would a company be able to treat customers like this? If you walked into a pub at happy hour and took one of their promotional offers, would it be reasonable or allowed that the pub landlord could throw you out for doing that? More on that in just a second, but if we go back to that original article where Skybet admit to restricting around about 3% of their customer base, you can see that Simon Rowlands of the Horse Racing Bettors Forum made comment there where he said that he accepts that bookmakers should have the ability to restrict winning accounts, which I thought was a little bit odd because the Horse Racing Bettors Forum is there to represent the people, the horse racing betting public, although also Simon Rowlands is actually paid for his editorial content over on At The Races, which is Sky Sports Racing website. A conflict of interest perhaps? I would ask him myself, although he's got me blocked on Twitter. I have no reason why I don't believe I've ever spoke to this man. Maybe it's just another case like other videos on this channel where I've explained what's actually going on and I have been blocked and censored in response. Moving on to point 4, which is of course Skybet's targeting practices. Now, I don't believe for 1 second that Skybet cannot target their customers effectively. They're already banning winners effectively and they're targeting gambling addicts. You may have seen Paul Merson on the BBC earlier on in the month where he broke down, got upset, spoke about his gambling problems in the past with a very heartfelt episode before appearing on Skybet's website a week later with a betting advert attached to his name and editorial content. Skybet are lower than a snake's belly. They're quite happy to use this man, a gambling addict in the past, pushing himself as a gambling addict, maybe a little bit hypocritical there himself with a book deal before Christmas, but they are willing to go right to the bottom and target the most vulnerable people, clearly. I'll finish up on that one in just a second, but moving on to point 5, Skybet have historically, much like many other betting companies, refused paying out winning customers. Look at this article here from The Sun online. They refused to pay out a young mum that won £10,000 using their platform. They claimed that there was multiple people using that IP address, that location to place bets from, and so it wasn't necessarily her, which is very interesting because it comes back to the targeting issue once more, and also an article that was released by the Racing Post where the head of the Gambling Commission made comment earlier in the week. He said, and I quote, "Single customer view is about the triggers of harm behaviour, not triggers of successful gambling. He insists if the industry tried to build that, you would see be intervention from the regulator, because that would be going well beyond what we are trying to do. But clearly they're already doing it, and they have been doing it for years, and they're going to continue doing it, and their targeting is very good. This is not a targeting issue, this is an integrity issue with companies like Skybet. So this line of single customer view that's being pushed by the industry right now, including the Gambling Commission and various MPs, is totally and utterly wrong. Furthermore, in the same article, Andrew Rhodes also says this is not some Big Brother style gamblers register. It's about helping operators solve their own problem. Look at pubs. There's a point where a pub landlord will stop serving you, often as much for your own good as it is for their business, and often pubs won't serve that same customer either, which is quite ridiculous. If we think back to that previous analogy, pubs don't throw people out that turn up for happy hour, pubs don't send alcoholics free beers, pubs don't restrict low value customers because they're not profitable enough, and pubs certainly don't ask for 3 months bank statements, P60, passport, and all of your financial information just to buy a pint. They are certainly not comparable. If you've experienced any of these kind of things from Skybet, please let us know in the comments down below so people can see just how much this is going on. It's not the first time this has happened, and it's not the first company to have done it either. See the videos in the end screen where I share my bets with Bet365 before they restricted my account, stopping me from betting with them, and also the affiliates, of course the Football Tipsters affiliates, which we'll show in the end screen too, who are knowingly sending people down the garden path so they can extract money from vulnerable people under the guise of making money through betting. Clearly they have no intention of allowing them to do that. Thanks for watching, please don't forget to like and subscribe.